Hey, welcome back everybody. This is GHS InfoSec, and I am back at TryHackMe.com to do another room. This is the 0-day room, and it says exploit Ubuntu like a turtle in a hurricane. I don't know what that means, but this was a cool challenge. I've already completed it. I didn't actually answer any of the questions yet. I'm going to do that as I show you my methodology for completing this room, but I thought this was a really neat room to showcase how to find some vulnerabilities and research them, and learn how to exploit them. Currently, I'm going through the eLearn Security Certified Penetration Testing Professional course, and I thought this was a really neat room to try to use that methodology. So I figured I'd do that in today's video. So let's get started. Alright, so I've already got my machine spun up here, so I'm just going to copy this. And this is a CTF machine instead of a walkthrough on TryHackMe. So we only have two questions that we have to answer, and it's the user.txt and the root.txt. So I'm going to hop over to a terminal real quick, and I've already removed all of my files that I used to solve this, but ZSH in Kali Linux is going to show you the commands that you've run. So just full disclosure, you're going to see all the stuff I've already done, but we're going to walk through that methodology anyway. Also, trying to give Kali Linux a shot again. I do enjoy a lot of the tools that it has. I like to try to install the tools myself, but a lot of times it's just a lot easier to throw it up on a distro that already has that stuff. So let's go ahead and make sure we can ping the box real quick, and it looks like we can. Something interesting I've learned recently, I believe I got this from Infinite Logins or someone, but if you look at the TTL value on echo reply or a ping reply from the machine, that can kind of give you a little bit of idea about what kind of machine we're dealing with. We already know based on the room that we're dealing with Ubuntu, but TTL of less than 64 will most likely be a Linux machine, and every hop it makes, it decrements by 1. So this is most likely 3 hops away from where we're at currently. Just thought I'd point that out. Thought that was pretty neat. So let's go ahead and just do a basic nmap scan of, and we'll go ahead and do the default nmap scripts, and just to kind of speed things on a little bit, we don't need to ping, so we'll say pn and paste our IP address in here, and we'll just let that run. We're just going to scan for the most common ports, and this might actually complain because I'm not running this as root. Maybe not. There are some nmap scans I know with OS detection and things like that where you actually have to be root in order to run those, and I didn't run this with sudo privileges, so we'll just see what happens. Alright, so it looks like we've got 2 ports open. We have OpenSSH on port 22, and then HTTP on port 80, and it looks like it's running an Apache server 2.4.7, and it has a title here of 0-day, and that's what we get from here. So also port 6007. I'm not sure if that's going to be of any interest to us, but anyway, so let's hop on over to the web browser. And what I did to kick things off was just to navigate to the IP address where this page is, and you can see we get a page that says 0-day, and this is Ryan Montgomery, aka 0-day. I assume he created this room. More than likely he did. So let's see if we can take anything in the source. This is part of our enumeration phase where, trying to see and gather as much information as we can. We already know the server version. Usually, we'd try to look for developer comments or something interesting in the source code of the page, but there doesn't seem to be anything going on in here that we're interested in. So we'll close this for now. But we know we have a web server open, so let's go ahead and fire up GoBuster and see if we can get a little bit of information about it. And dirbuster directory medium. And let's look for TXT files and PHP files, since we know we're working with Apache. Okay, right off the bat we've got a CGI bin, an image directory, those are, look like they're getting redirected. An uploads directory, admin, okay. So admin seems a little juicy, so let's go ahead and see if we can get to /admin. And this is just a blank page. All right, so what was the other one? Uploads. Maybe there's some type of file upload vulnerability, and now there's nothing there. So some of these are just kind of rabbit holes, but again, going through the process of enumerating and discovery and scanning, you're going to find things that lead you nowhere, and you have to kind of follow those leads anyway. I'm not speaking from experience like I'm some kind of super elite ethical hacker or pen tester or anything like that, but it's just just from doing these exercises and just tinkering around and having fun. That's kind of where I've learned those things, and it's all about having fun. This is just just an exercise. It's I typically work on more of the blue team side at my organization, so these things are good for me to learn where I need to button things up. So we have a backup and a robots.txt. Let's go ahead and check out backup real quick. And we have an RSA private key. And looking at the source code, this is actually going to put this in the format that it needs to be in order to save it in an IDRSA file. But I will go ahead and tell you that this is a rabbit hole. You are not going to be able to use this to SSH into the machine. You can use SSH to John and crack the password, and I'm not going to spoil it for you what the password is, but you will get the password for this key file. However, you will not be able to SSH in as Ryan unless you just get root on the box and change his password, because you don't know what Ryan's password is. I didn't waste my time trying to use Hydra or brute force or anything like that. So I found another way in, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. And also we had a robots.txt. You really thought it'd be this easy? Yes, I sure did when I first did this box, and but this was cool. This was kind of a funny thing. So it's not going to be, this is actually a medium, I believe, room. Yeah, this is a medium difficulty, so it's not going to be that easy, but it'll be easy enough, so we'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kill GoBuster because I already know that this is about the most it's going to find. And I will tell you that the path into the machine is via the web browser. So let's go ahead with Nikto. And let's see what we can find. See what Nikto can find on this machine. So it's already figured out our server, Apache 2.4.7, and that's fine. All right, now it tells us that Apache 2.4.7 appears to be outdated. Current is at least 2.4.37. 2.2.34 is end of life for the 2.x branch. Yeah, I wondered if this was an older version or not when I went through this machine. This is actually not quite what the path I ended up taking. I'm sure there's some kind of exploit for that. In fact, let's do a search exploit for Apache 2.4.7. And you get a little bit of stuff here, so yeah, there's a few things there that you could probably leverage against that, but that wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So we're just going to let Nikto continue to run because it will find exactly what we're looking for here. Oh, and I just realized too that GoBuster found this secret directory. This also, I believe, is some kind of rabbit hole because I didn't find anything out of that. But we'll go ahead and we'll show that real fast, just because it's there. Inquiring minds want to know, and it's a turtle. I guess it has something to do with the title, exploiting Ubuntu like a turtle in a hurricane. I thought there would have been some kind of steganography or something in here, but there's not. So just another rabbit hole, at least in my mind. There may be something there. All right, so Nikto has come back and said OSVDB 112004 /CGI bin /test.cgi appears to be vulnerable to the Shellshock vulnerability. And it gives us this link here. So I'm going to copy this link. And let's go ahead and take a look at what this says. So, blah, blah, blah. GNU bash through 4.3 process trailing strings after function definitions. A lot of really technical stuff. Ultimately, what you end up getting is a privilege boundary from bash execution, aka Shellshock. So, and then it exploits the CGI and mod CGID modules in Apache HTTP server scripts. So that's really interesting to know. So we know we need this path here, CGI/bin/test.cgi. Now I don't know that this is actually going to return anything other than hello world. That's all we get there. But this is going to be our entry path into here. So I did a little Googling of Shellshock POC for proof of concept, and I came across this GitHub page, and this is the CVE for that vulnerability. And so you can read through all this stuff. Shellshock, also known as bashdoor, it's been around since 2014. This is when it was disclosed. This guy has a Docker container that you can run up and spin up your own vulnerable server and try to exploit that, which I think is pretty neat. But then the proof of concept here that I ended up using was just a one-liner, this curl command. And so I'm going to copy most of this. I'm not going to need all of it. And we're going to paste this in the terminal. I'm actually going to come over to another terminal. I'm going to kill this. I'm going to come over to another terminal. Paste the clipboard, and we need to put in our host. So it's going to be http / and this here. I should have just copied this. All right. Okay. Can get rid of all this other mess. And what this is going to do is it's going to try and curl and execute the bash command cat against the etc password directory. So, and it looks like we got it. So this exploit actually works, which is really neat. So we can look through here, and going back to our /backup file on this web server, that most likely is, well, I believe it is. I remember from doing this before. It is Ryan's SSH key. However, we're not going to, or IDRSA private key. We're not going to be able to leverage that. So, but what we can do is we can look up, because I never remember the syntax for this. We can look up the reverse shell cheat sheet. And pentestmonkey.net has all the things. We're going to use bash. So just slap this in here. And what we're going to do, since we know we have code execution, we've got the contents of the etc password file here. We have code execution. We're going to run the same thing, only this time, instead of catting etc password, we're going to set up a reverse shell 10.6.67.211, and in order to do that, I need to go ahead and fire up netcat on port 8080, because that's where our reverse shell is going. And let's go ahead and give this a whirl. So we hit enter, and just like that, we've got a reverse shell. Very nice. And we are the www.data user. Once again, we confirm that. Who am I? Okay, so let's see where we're at. We're at user lib CGI bin. Okay, so from here, this is where it's going to be kind of foggy for me, because it's been a few days since I've actually done this room. So let's go ahead and cd/, we'll go to root, and let's see where we're at. All right, there's nothing in this one. cd/home. And there's a .secret, and there's a Ryan, cd Ryan. Oh, if I could type properly. And here's our user.txt. I'm going to go ahead and actually cat this out. Cool. I should have just answered these when I did it before, but I kind of wanted to do this and save it for the video. So it's always fun for me to try and walk through. It's like a surprise for me all over again. All right, so we got our user.txt. And so now we got to find our path to privilege escalation. So there's something interesting here in the Etsy password file. And right here, it says Ubuntu 14.04.1, which number one is a very old version of Ubuntu. So we can look up searchsploit, and let's actually do that. Searchsploit. We don't want MS14, we want Ubuntu 14. And let's see what we got here. So there are several different exploits here, and I think what we're going to end up using, excuse me, this is going to be a kernel exploit. I believe the one I ended up using that worked was this one here, and I want to take a look at it real quick before we do that. So the way you would examine this is searchsploit tac X for examine, and then Control-Shift-V to paste. And I believe this is the correct one. So we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. If not, I'm going to have to figure out what I actually need to do. But anyway, this is actually the exploit code. You can find it on ExploitDB. So let's go ahead and head back over here where we have our shell. And we need to actually, I'm going to cd into ctf thm 0 day, and we're going to examine this code again. And my alarm is going off. Time to get up. I'm already up. The day has started. And we're going to tee that out to exploit.c. And if we look here, we have our code. Okay, so let's Python 3 tacm HTTP server. And we're already using port 8080, so I'm going to say port 9090. Why not? Okay, so we can, let's actually cd into /dev/shm, because I want to figure out a place we actually have write access to. /dev/shm is world readable by default, so that's a good place to go ahead and put stuff. So we're going to wget, and then from our machine here, .6.67.211 on 9090 /exploit.c. And initially, when I first went through this, I ran linps. Linps dumped out a little bit of information, but the only thing, you know, based on what I saw in the Etsy password file, the version of Ubuntu is kind of what tipped me off to whatever it needed to be. So we are going to go ahead and see if we can compile this code. And exploit.c-o exploit, and we're going to get an error. Now, a quick Google search will tell us what this is all about. I kind of beat my head up on this one for a little bit, but I did actually find some interesting posts on Stack Overflow. This one I know was helpful. I believe this one might have been helpful too. Those are the two that I looked at. So what folks are saying are you have to run some updates, blah blah blah. We don't have privileges to do that. We are just a service account user, so we don't have any privileges to install anything or update or anything like that. So this one actually was not very helpful. Now looking here, this one has one answer, and it says all seem to point to an issue with path or env variables, such as the GCC exec prefix. What does strace say? Strace is a native Linux command, and I'm not a programmer, so I don't use things like that very much, but strace and ltrace are very handy. So if we strace GCC exploit .c -o exploit, we should be able to see. All right, so I can't remember how to do that. Like I said, I don't use this very much anyway. All right, so it took me a minute to recall the syntax for that. So let's go ahead and try this again. So it is strace GCC exploit .c and -o. We're going to output to exploit to greater &1 pipe grep for cc1. Okay. So that didn't do anything either. All right, so I've been beating my head up a little bit over this. Let me just try giving the exact path to the GCC binary. And we're exploit code -o exploit. And if we output all the noise, so there we go. Okay, wow, finally. All right, so that worked. So let's go ahead and, like I said, I'm not a developer. I'm not even really a very good hacker, but I wouldn't, honestly, don't even consider myself a hacker. I'm no John Hammond or TCM. So let's do that again. And we're going to, this time, just grep for, probably need to remove exploit, because I want to see what, oh, we haven't compiled it yet. Never mind. All right. All right. I'm going to run this again, and instead of just letting it fly by me, since I didn't actually upgrade my shell and make it proper like a good person would, I am going to grep for GCC. So, or CC1. That was what our error was about. So we see here that it is looking for this path for the CC1 binary. And based on some reading I had done, the path execution and all that mess for Ubuntu 14 or just Ubuntu in general can be a little bit weird. So we need to see what our path variable actually is. So let's echo $path and see what we have. So /user/lib is not in this list. So we need to include it as part of this list in order to be able to compile this code. So let's say export path equals /user/lib : $path. And that should get us in there. Yeah, so we can see that now. So now, if we try to, I'm just going to do the full path to the binary just to be sure I get this. Now if we try to compile our C code, we should be able to compile our exploit. And that didn't work. Why not? Let me try this again. And let's actually vim exploit.c. Okay, I see. So yeah, I couldn't remember this at all. Let's delete these lines because we don't need that. And if we scroll down, I think we should be good now. All right, so let's try hosting this again. And now let's go back over to our connection. rm exploit wget http Man, sorry guys, this is really throwing me for a loop here. I just did this room a few days ago, but you would think I'd remember how to do it. Okay, so now we got that. Now we can gcc exploit .c-o exploit. All right, we've compiled it. Check the permissions. It is not executable. Actually, it is executable. Let's /exploit and watch it run. And there we go. We have rooted the machine. We are root cd/root lsla root.txt. Man, that took so long. 0 day is pleased. All right, so that took a little while. So even though I've already completed this room, it took me a little bit to actually recall what I did. I did, full disclosure, I did peek at one of the write-ups just to remember, but I couldn't find the strace thing I was looking for in that write-up. Apparently that guy didn't go that route. He ended up using that same exploit, but he didn't go the same route that I did. So, all right, that took way longer than expected. Apologize for the length of this video. It was supposed to be a walkthrough on how, but you know what, honestly, that's how things go sometimes. You know, even if you've already done something before and beat your head against the wall, you just have to keep beating your head against the wall in order to get what you're looking for. So that's it for this video. I really appreciate your time, appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. Please share this with anyone you think may be interested in this type of stuff, and let me know down in the comments, do you like this style of video? Do you like the TryHackMes and the CTFs, or you know, do you want to see a bit more like proof of concept type stuff? You know, what do you guys want to see? Just let me know. Anyway, that's all I got for today, and thank you so much for watching.